So in this video, we're going to start getting into the actual content of your page, right? So we've been looking a lot at columns. Now we're going to talk about what goes inside those columns. Because remember, all of your HTML content, all your H1s and Ps and images and videos, everything has to go inside a column. So in the Bootstrap documentation, I'm inside the content heading right now. And let's just take a look at the typography section, because the way that this documentation works, and part of what I'm trying to show you here is just how the documentation works, is it's almost like a menu. I'm just going to kind of browse through here and see, okay, these are all the things that are available. And let's say, okay, you know, actually this heading looks really good for what I would want. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, okay, here's the code for it. All right, really easy. All I do is add a display class. Let's say this second one looks good. I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to bring this into my H1, and now when I look over here I have this nice big heading instead of the smaller heading that I have before. So there's all sorts of stuff in here, right? So okay, this is a nice kind of bigger looking paragraph. I actually hate the way this paragraph looks, so it looks like I just add class equals lead to a paragraph. I come in here. I've already got some display classes here, so all I'm going to do is add a class. So remember that when I have spaces here, it has this class and this class and this class. So now I've got that larger intro paragraph there. The next thing we need to look at is images. So if we come in content images, a kind of weird thing about Bootstrap is that images aren't responsive by default, okay? So here I've got 3 columns, right? Col MD4, so take up a third of the screen, and I've got images in them, and these images are basically breaking my grid, breaking my site, because they're not responsive. So if I come into the documentation, I want responsive images. I see, oh, I just add class equals image fluid, and I'm done. So come here to my image fluid, image fluid, image fluid, and that's doing just what we've done previously in class, where these images now have width 100%, height auto, and they're going to scale with my columns like this, okay? Really easy. The last thing I want to look at are embeds. So let's say that I want to make a new row here and I want to embed a YouTube video that's going to take up 12 grid units, okay? So this is just how I write something that's going to take up 12 grid units. Below medium, it's going to be 12 by default, and then I just to remind myself, say on medium and up, be 12. So this one's always going to be 12. Now, let's say I have a YouTube video that I really like, and I want to put it on my website. So I'm going to hit share. I'm going to come to embed, and then I'm going to copy this code, which is my, my embed code. And it's an iframe. We don't really need to worry about it too much. All right. So I come into my column. Remember, I'm never going to put something outside of a column. So I'm never going to put it here. It's always, always, always going to go inside my column. And I come back here, there it is, and I want to now make it responsive, right? Because this doesn't look like what we want it to look like. So in Bootstrap, responsive embeds are actually under utilities. So I'm going to come utilities, embed, and I'm going to look here and say, okay, I need to put it inside a class, and that class needs to have embed responsive. And then it also wants to know the aspect ratio. So 16 by 9 is the aspect ratio of a YouTube video. So in that case, this is really easy. And I can just copy this, bring it here. Again, it's always inside my column. And then I'm going to close my div. Bootstrap recommends putting this class equals embed responsive item on your iframe. So let's go ahead and do that. There, and now let's see how we're looking. Okay, so now my embed is responsive and I am happy. One thing that you'll notice here is that Bootstrap doesn't put any padding on your rows. So in another kind of more advanced video, we'll look at how to space out your rows so you don't get this effect going on. All right, so for content, use the documentation, use it like a menu. Make sure that your images are responsive by adding class equals img-fluid And when you're embedding anything, and we'll talk about different kinds of embeds, we're going to use these responsive embed codes.